So anyway, we're talking about sales reach and marketing, right? And Dennis Kovac came to mind for me Monday evening. I was designing shirts in my little lab, and here's an example of sales reach and marketing with Christianity. Sister Mary Fidelis heard a story from another nun at her order back up in Lincoln, Nebraska. And one day I'm talking to Sister Mary Fidelis about doing a Lenten pep talk for you guys like 2 years ago, a year ago, right? And so in this Lenten pep talk, we say, this guy dies, he goes to heaven, St. Ignatius is showing him around, right? St. Ignatius is showing the guy around, and he goes, you know, you might have heard of me, I'm St. Ignatius, you know, fed the lions, you know, martyr of the faith. Well, it's kind of a big deal when I was down there. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I think I read about you, yeah. You know, I'm Fred, I give up chocolate for Lent. 3 years in a row, right? So I told that story in a presentation last year. Dennis said it had an impact on him. So I'm thinking about Dennis for some weird reason Monday night, like, I need to come up with something for a Lent shirt. So we have Jesus on the cross. You know, can you imagine, and this is kind of an extenuation of that story, right? Can you imagine you're up there at the pearly gates, but it's a door, and you're like, hey, let me in. And Jesus comes up and goes, what'd you give up for Lent last year? Are you getting in? Now, you can't give up something for Lent and be all of a sudden qualified for heaven. I'm not being ridiculous, right? But when you do things, if you do them with Christ on the cross crucified, in your mind, it changes the way you do things, right? It changes the way you serve other people. It changes the way you treat your wife. It changes the way you love your children. It changes the way you tolerate the jerk at work. So thinking about Christ on the cross crucified.
What if we are the jerk at work? Oh, sorry.
Then you start your own business. That's what I do. You work alone.
That must be the secret.
My wife said, you know, it's amazing that you keep starting new businesses because, you know, you can't even work with yourself. Anyway, so the reach of Sister Mary Fidelis with that story, right? It came from one nun to Sister Mary Fidelis, to me, to the men's group, to Dennis, made an impact on Dennis. Thinking about the impact it made on Dennis, came back to my mind a year later. I made a shirt. I put the shirt on Facebook. 500 and some odd people saw it. That's what the little logistics thing tells me. And then John Keyes shares it, so guess what? All his friends saw it too. And John Keyes tells Sister's story in an abbreviated, I don't really remember what Mike was talking about, completely fashion. You know, so the point being here is what was Sister's reach in her advertisement, her evangelization? Really, she had a good one-liner, right? How far did that go for Christ? So the idea with marketing Christ is every single thing that you do has an impact that goes on down the road. Odds are you're not going to meet somebody today and 10 minutes later, that person's not going to go, hey, you know what, I'm all about Jesus and my life's all completely changed. If it happens, that's awesome. I mean, that's something to really tip your cap to, but usually God doesn't seem to work that way. God works with people in maybe